You're listening to That Home Loan Hub. I'm Zibuni Salimova, here to make home loans and property investing simple, smart, and stress-free. Let's get you closer to your property dreams. Well, hello there. I've got Emma Hanover here with me today. Hello, Emma.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. You're one of my earlier guests now on the show that I've titled Money and the Relationships with Money. So thank you so much for putting your hand up and wanting to share your story.
No, this is fine. You're my first podcast, so
Awesome.
this is exciting for me.
This is cool. This is cool. I've done lots of different episodes, but now I've sort of landed on this topic and it's been resonating with people. A lot of people are curious to learn about other people's relationship with money because then it makes them stop and think about their own relationship with money and how that affected the rest of their life. So,
Yeah.
Emma, tell me about who you are, where you're at the moment, and then we'll just go from there.
So I am Emma, obviously. Currently, I'm property trader full-time. I'm a full-time property trader. I'm also a property consultant. So I teach people how to take property trading and turn it into a scalable business. And I founded Fundhouse. So that's what I'm currently doing. Before I got into this, I founded a line marking business with my husband, and we grew that to one of the largest in the North Island, like one of the largest privately owned in the North Island, and sold that. And before that, I was a high school dropout.
Wait, hold on a second. So right now you've got your knowledge and hands and properties, and before that you had an amazing business that you've sold. But how did you get there? And then you were a school dropout. Like, how do you go from the school dropout to owning a multi-million-dollar businesses?
I like to say school's not for everyone. So I have dyslexia and ADHD, which really did mean that school was not for me. So I left school at 16 and started working. And I worked in a bakery, culinary arts training, which in layman's terms means I trained to be a chef.
Sounds
Um,
fancier.
yeah. And then I had my third child, and it was just doing like working in hospitality was not,
Yeah.
it was not the go, split shifts and things like that. So actually, I left that, was a stay-at-home mum for a little while, and then I cleaned motels, which people kind of look down on, but honestly, I loved it. It was quick. I made good money doing it, and I got to be home with my kids at the end of the day. But while I was doing that, my husband was working in a line marking company, and he had a health scare basically, and we thought he was going to lose his job. So we decided to start our own. And we packed up our family and we moved from New Plymouth to Auckland to start our business, just thinking we'd make enough money to support ourselves, basically.
Yeah.
Like super, not at all ambitious goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we very, very quickly became well known for fixing other people's mistakes. And from that, we started doing like niche work, and we just were outperforming basically all our competitors on our workmanship side. And then when it came to our customer service side, which was where I took over, we were providing customer service that no one else in our industry was. So people would take days to get back for quotes, and they just were not very customer friendly. So it made me stand out like crazy, and we just grew so quickly.
Do you think it was due to you working in hospitality before?
Maybe, but honestly, I think a lot of it's just like common sense, right? Like I would treat my clients the way that I would want to be treated.
Yeah.
Like if I go to someone to get a price for something, I want a response within a day, two at the most. And some people will take a week or two. And I see that now working with lots of other trades. It happens all the time. And if someone takes 2 weeks to get me a quote, they're not going to get the job.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to take 2 weeks to get a quote to someone unless you're like quoting an entire build. And so, I would just, in running the business, everything I would do would be like, what would I want to see from from business?
Yeah.
And I would then provide that. So it came very naturally. So I don't know if it comes from hospitality, but just more being customer-centric
Yeah.
and wanting to provide the service that I would want to receive.
Yeah. I love that. Because that's one thing I really struggle with. And that's not just a New Zealand thing. I feel like it's anywhere you go.
You're frozen.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Yeah, I was just saying that I do struggle with that. And it's not just in New Zealand, but in a lot of other places as well, that you can suddenly go from, you know, experiencing really cool service to something that suddenly isn't. And you know the difference. And you go, I don't like that. I don't want to be treated that way. But it always puzzles me why. Why do people not see the absolute, as you said, it's common sense, it's the basics. And somehow yet it's the missing piece in a lot of businesses. But what I want to do with you, Emma, is I just want to rewind a little bit back to your high school days and maybe a bit earlier. What's your first earliest memory of money and how did you feel about that?
We didn't have any. I grew up very, very, very poor, like very poor, living off the food banks and things like that. So we never had money. So my earliest memories are just feeling like there was none there, which then made me want to make it. So I actually started, I was very entrepreneurial.
I was about to say, you're a hustler.
I was a hustler. I was knocking on the neighbors' doors. I was mowing lawns, doing garden, anything I could do. I had a paper route, like anything I could do to make money. I was like 11 years old, trying to make some money wherever I could. And it was all very much the same again, just being very friendly and polite and wanting to provide a service to my neighbors.
Yeah, I love that. And when you got that money, what did you do with that money?
Oh, a lot of it went to my family, to be honest.
You're going to
We
make me
go to buy
cry.
bread and milk and stuff.
So, did you have a big family, like lots of siblings and stuff?
No, just one sister and my mum. We just, single mum on the DPB. I don't know much about what she knows about money, but yeah, there was just kind of none of it. I think she mismanaged finances, and so we never had anything. So
Yeah.
it
So,
was
you guys never talked about money, right?
no, we never talked about money. I just knew there was none there.
Wow. So that's interesting, isn't it? Like a lot of people I'm talking to, if we go back 20 years, 30 years, I feel like there were a lot of people that were doing it really, really hard back then as well in New
Yeah,
Zealand.
yeah, I think so. I mean, I think there always has been.
Yeah.
I think there still are as
Yeah.
well. To be honest,
And,
there's a lot still struggling. Yeah.
yeah. And that's what I see as well is that some people manage to break away from that cycle
Hmm.
and then others that haven't. I'm trying to work out why they haven't. What stopped them from going, hey, I don't want this life. There is a different way. But you did that.
I did. Yeah.
So where is mom now? Where does she live with you? Does she live with you in Auckland?
Why do people not do that more?
Yes.
And I think what I think is that they don't get shown that they can. So they don't understand that there are other options. They don't get taught how to achieve those like goals or even how to set goals, like just from the minimum of being able to set a goal and how to do that. I think it's just not taught. It's not taught in schools, and then it's not taught from family because family doesn't know how to do it either. So they don't have anyone to look to.
Yeah. You mentioned you've got kids.
I do.
How many kids do you have? Three.
I have 3 kids, yeah.
Yeah. How old are they?
They are 18, 16, and 15.
Okay. And how did you teach them? Well, for one, actually, hold on a second. You look way too young. Have an
I
18-year-old.
I was a young mum.
Okay. I was like, wait, it's not mathing in my head right now.
No, you're not the first.
Okay. But did you teach your kids about money? What
Yeah,
did you do
yeah.
different?
I have a great example actually. I've always talked to my children about money, and yesterday my kids were each given $500 and sent to the mall to buy any clothing that they will need for the next 6 months. And so, and to teach them how to manage money, because I don't believe in giving my children money, they have to earn anything they have and then I've given them $500 to say, look, if you need shoes, get shoes. If you need clothes, get clothes. If you need skincare, get skincare. It's up to you to manage that budget and buy what you need. And that teaches them, one, how to plan, and two, how to manage money. And out of my two kids that went to the mall, one spent $600 and one spent $100. So, two very different children. One spent $400 on one outfit. So,
Wow.
but
That's
they earn their own money. So we teach them how to earn money. We teach them how to budget, how to set goals around finances as well. So, for instance, planning a family holiday, we said if you want to go to this location, you have to save $1,000. And that's just so they have spending money. But if they don't save that money, then we don't go on holiday.
wow. That's really, really cool. What about like Kiwi Savers and shares? Do your kids know much about that?
They have KiwiSavers. They don't know much about it. They can see it, but they just know that they can't use it.
Yeah.
I do talk to my children about shares, and my youngest daughter has shown interest in setting up a shares account and just, drip savings into there to grow her money.
Yeah.
At this point, it's just interest in learning more about it, but I
Yeah.
don't like to force it upon them because then they don't want to do it.
Yeah. And that's what I find as well is that when you, as a parent, you try to teach them something, if it comes to forceful, they're not going to take it in. And it
No.
takes
Oh,
some
they'll
time.
rebel and they'll go the other way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But just like you, I've got several children, and I find that they all have different money personalities as well. That
Yeah.
one can be an absolute spender, and the other one will be an absolute saver, and then not really willing to spend any money. But they're still
Yeah.
little. So they're still learning and they're still growing. In terms of your partner, how do you find you and your relationship with your partner in terms of money? Are you guys quite similar or you different?
I think we've been together for like 22 years. And early on in our relationship, I took on the responsibility of our finances because when we met, he had quite a lot of debt. So he wasn't very good with money. and and so I took on that responsibility and it's kind of just stuck with me. So I manage all of our finances and he doesn't even know how much is in our bank account.
I love it.
But I do discuss all of our finances with him. So like I'll review our share portfolio and I'll tell him like this is a return that we're getting at the moment. And when I buy properties, I'll sometimes just tell him I've bought a property, but sometimes I discuss it with him and
Yeah.
yeah. So he gets to weigh in, but he doesn't feel the stress of, what is happening there.
Yeah. And what I like about couples like you, if you can find each other's strengths and play to that,
Mhm.
that's usually the best sort of relationships instead of trying to make the other person understand things that they're just not interested in or they don't like it. And therefore it creates that resistance. But
Yeah.
if you can balance each other, that's just beautiful.
It's just yin and yang. If we slot into our slots that we naturally like are good at, then it all just comes a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about your property portfolios and stuff, if you don't mind. When did you start property flipping or property?
Just shy of 2 years ago.
Wow. What made you do that?
I've always had a passion for property, like old homes.
Yeah.
And when I sold the business, I had decided I was going to get into property one way or another. I didn't know how. And I reviewed all the options. Was I going to do buy, rent, and renovate? Was I going to become a real estate agent? Flipping was obviously an option, developing was an option. And I just weighed up on my personality and my risk appetite what kind of appealed to me. And the idea of buying rundown old homes and getting to renovate them appealed to me greatly. And 2 years and 18 properties later, I'm not regretting it.
Yeah. That
But yeah,
that's
I'm glad I didn't become an agent. The more I work with agents, the more I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't do that.
that's
Nothing against agents. I just think they have to work so much harder for their money than what
yeah.
people think.
Oh, totally they do. So does your husband help you with that?
Yeah, so he came on 7 months ago. He quit his job. and he came on to work with me, and he kind of does hybrid role, I'm going to say, somewhat project managers a little bit, does some hands-on stuff. So he's just a handy guy. So he'll go and do like door handles and, fiddly things like that and run errands. And sometimes he'll just muck in, and he loves doing the demo, to be
Love
honest.
it. Who
His
doesn't?
favorite thing, yeah. Can I go in and smash a kitchen up? Like,
I love it. I love it. And do your kids come and help?
sometimes if they want to earn some money, well, I'll say to the kids, hey, we're going to go demo a house, or dad's going to go do some demo. You guys want to earn some money? And sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they say no. I've got my daughter is talking about learning how to do it, so that's quite exciting.
How do you still sell a property for profit in a declining market?
Not as easy as it used to be. when I'm buying, but when you buy a property is when you make money on it. Like, it doesn't matter what you do after. If you've overpaid, you're going to lose money. So for me, buying right is the only way I'm making money. Where I used to have maybe a 200 between my buy and sell, I now have like a $250,000 spread, because if you hold that property for like 2 or 3 weeks too long,
Yeah.
you might miss the boat. So it's a lot harder to sell now. But in saying that, it is a buyer's market. There are
Yeah.
so many opportunities out there right now, especially for like your buy and hold portfolios. I work with a lot of investors that do buy and hold, and they're just creaming it right now, like on the opportunities that are there.
It's funny when I say this to clients, people think that because I'm a mortgage advisor, they think that I'm trying to promote for them to get loans. But I'm like, no, seriously, guys, this is a good time to buy. Really
It's
good
a
time to
really
buy.
good time to buy. Like, I speak to a lot of people within the industry, and everyone is saying, like, they're telling me to do buy and holds. Like, you need to go and buy as many buy and holds as you can. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I know. Like,
So do you have a property portfolio now?
I have one long-term hold, but that's it for now. I am very selective with buy and holds, so I want it to be the right kind. But in all honesty, I don't like having tenants, so I
Fair
don't want
enough.
rentals.
Fair enough.
I'm looking to move more into commercial space for like the long-term buy and holds.
Yeah. And you mainly operate in Auckland area?
I also operate down in Taranaki.
Oh, okay. So, but that's a bit of a distance. How do you manage to do that?
I have an amazing team down there.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have two properties that I'm working on down in New Plymouth. I've done half of my properties have been down there, and obviously it's where we used to live, so we know the area really
Yeah.
well. And we started there because the buy price was so much lower,
Yeah.
so it was a lot
Absolutely.
safer to test the waters.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you get any coaching done on it?
I did get some coaching. I went to a property coach, and I learned some things, but I did find the biggest thing was actually just finding others that were doing it
Yeah.
and being able to crowdsource information. To be honest, for me, it's no different than running a business. It's project management, which is part of what I used to do, admin, sales, client relations. It's no different.
It's who you know, right?
It is oftentimes it's who you know, and the person that you know might know someone,
Yeah.
which is where crowdsourcing information is so helpful.
But how do you go from there? Like, we deal with a lot of women in the industry, or not even in the industry, but like there's a lot of moms that are struggling, right? There's a lot of people that are struggling and they're going, maybe cleaning hotels, working in hospitality. Like they're listening to this right now and they go, yeah, yeah, that sounds way too easy. I can't do this. How do you change that mentality? How do you go, I've done it. You can do it as well. Like, Emma, what can you say to them to show them how can you transform their life?
I think that people look at what I do and they think they've got to do all the stuff themselves. I have properties that I've stepped foot in twice, when I brought it and when I sold it, because you have a team in place. This can literally be a side hustle. Like, I do 6 projects at a time. It's it's easy for me to say, right, because I'm doing it. But for a mum at home that wants to fit within the school, like, school hours, this actually is perfect. If you do one property at a time, you can easily do that. You've just got to find the right team.
Yeah. What about the funding? Because again, I can hear the questions coming through right now as people are listening to this going, but how do I get the money for it?
Oh, now that's the secret sauce there, right? I work with investors. So when I started, I used my own funds. I don't use my own funds anymore to do this. I only work with investor capital. Um, so this is why I built a platform for it. But finding finding the funds can be difficult. If you've got funds yourself to start with, it makes things 100 times easier. If you've got a 30% deposit, it's all you need for a home. And then second tier lenders, they don't income test, they test the deal. So
Yeah.
if you find a deal and you've got the 30% deposit and your holding costs, then a second tier lender, if you've got the right one, will lend on the deal.
Yeah. I love it.
And
I love that you
that's the
know
thing
that.
people don't understand. I think they think, oh, but the mortgage said that the bank said I'm tapped out. But the second tier lenders don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. And often, if I promote those things, I may sound like a responsible advisor, but we never, because I deal a lot with developers, I deal a lot with people that flipped. And look, in the past, me and my ex-husband, we flipped 20 properties in 1 year. So I
Hmm.
know what it takes to do all of that. That's why I was so excited to have you here. I was like, oh, I found someone just as crazy. This is great.
I love that. 20 in 1 year. That's my goal.
Trust me, that destroyed the marriage now. Okay. And for children to that as well, very, very young children. That was not fun. I think I hardly saw him because a lot of the stuff he wanted to do himself as well. And I think
Mm.
that's where, you can go wrong a little bit when you do want to, but he enjoyed that. He really, really enjoyed it. So versus I was more like you. I was like stepping in, stepping out. I was the funding member where I would find the money for us to
Mm.
do that. But I wasn't really too interested in actually doing the work itself. And I can plaster, I can paint, I can do all sorts of things. Like those things don't scare me, but it wasn't my passion. My passion
Yeah.
was finding a good deal, negotiating on a good deal, and then finding the money for it. That's
Yeah.
where,
I'm with
I,
you. That's what I find fun. And then the before and afters.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
love that.
And I like the design side too, to be honest. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's I wouldn't do this if I had to get dirty.
No, not at all. So when I tell people about the second tiers, I often get questions like, oh, but isn't the interest really high? Oh, but you pay fees. Yeah, but then at the same time, you're still gonna come away, if the numbers right, if you do
But
your
it's the cost of doing business, right? It's like anything else. There's a cost to doing business. If I have to borrow from a second tier lender and I spend $50,000, but I make 60, why wouldn't I? Like, if I had the money myself, there's still cost to that. There's opportunity costs in using your own money to do it. Like, people can be very short-sighted with that. And I do see it a lot where people are like, oh, I don't want to borrow the money. I've got all the money there. And I'm like, cool, why don't you do four at a time? Like,
Oh, I would love to fly up to Auckland and just hang out with you. I think the conversations we can have offline, like just next level. But you're right. A lot of the time people are very short-sighted and all they see is that, oh, I'm paying someone 50K, but they don't see that, hey, I'm actually making 60K that I didn't have before.
100%. I mean, I have fallen into this trap. When I first started, I did not want to do JVs. They were the furthest thing from what I wanted to do. And I'm literally in this situation now. I'm like, well, I can't find an angel, so I'm going to do a JV. And instead of making $150,000, I'm going to make like $70,000. But you know what? Otherwise, I'd make $0.
Can you explain what JV is for our listeners? I mean, I know, but
So JV is a joint venture agreement where I have found the property and I will manage the renovation and the on sale of the property, and the funding partner will just fund the deal. And there's a lot of ways to structure that, but 9 times out of 10, the JV partner owns the home and you have a contract together, and then that way their money is secured. So they fund the entire deal and you manage it and do all the doing part.
yeah.
And then you keep 50% of the profit.
I love that. And you're right. Like in the beginning, you're going, oh, but they're not doing anything and they're getting 50% of it. I'm doing all the hard work. But then actually without them,
You
maybe
wouldn't
they're the
make
ones,
anything.
yeah, maybe they're the ones
Yeah.
that are bringing the equity or whatever that needs
Mm.
to happen to close that deal.
Yeah. And I think, again, it's just like people being short sighted and going, oh, but they're being greedy and they're taking so much. They're not doing anything. But they're taking all the risk.
Yeah.
And that's what I, you know, I appreciate some. I've had strangers invest, like people come in and JV with me.
I love it. So let's talk about now your current project.
Hmm.
Tell me more about the business that you're building right now, the platform that you've built.
So Funhouse has been built out of, it's something that I wish could have been there, but it wasn't. Well, it is now. But being part of property groups, you see people looking for funding all the time. And I was sitting in a hotel room. I was away. And I was sitting in a hotel room and I saw a notification come up. Someone was looking for money. Literally 10 minutes later, someone else put up a thing looking for the same amount of money and offering 3% more. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's just got to be a better way. There needs to be like a Tinder for property investors.
I was about to say that. Did you just create Tinder for
Yeah,
property investors?
yeah.
I love
So
it.
I built the platform. Well, I outsourced it because I do not do tech. I partnered with a couple of people and they built a landing page. We saw that it was something that people wanted, and then we launched it. Since launching the platform, which was just to partner operators and investors, we have since branched out into adding a community because we heard people and they were saying, but we want the community. And I 100% I back that because it was the one thing that I really wanted. And then people have been asking me to teach them. How do I do what you do? How do I scale and how do I do 4 properties at once and all of that kind of stuff? So, along with that, we have then started offering consulting services so that people can learn from myself and people like me. So, I'm very active within property trading. So, I've made a lot of close friends that have been doing what I do.
Mm.
And, we all kind of we've all done the coaching, we've worked with different companies and we didn't like the way that it was offered. So we're offering a more hands-on organic approach. Whereas instead of we'll give you a book and we'll tell you read this book and then we'll spend 2 days with you, we instead say come and hang out with us and have access to us for a couple of hours a month and we will help you find the property, we'll help run through the deals on the numbers on those properties and, help you with the project management side if you need, someone to call you up. Because I think the big thing that's missing in coaching is, you know, going through the actual properties with the people and being like, well, hey, that looks like it's asbestos. You should get that tested. Or this here looks like it may be structural. You should get a builder's report on this. And actually actively going through the properties with people because going through 2 or 3 properties, you don't learn enough.
No, not at
Mm.
all. And I love what you're doing. I would love to learn more about it. And we're going to drop the link for our listeners in the podcast notes as well,
Thank you.
because I fully agree with you. I feel like when we were starting out as well, my ex went and paid a ridiculous amount of money for the coaching program was the property investor. And yes, he learned a lot. But at the same time, I feel like, damn, there was a lot of money. I think it was like 20 grand or something
Mm-hmm.
for that particular program. And yeah, sure enough, we made that money back. But I'm like, but there should be a better way to do this without costing people an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
And then again, if you started and decide that's not for you, then you don't feel like you burnt yourself too much either.
Yeah, it's hard as well. Like, yes, the ticket price is high. I mean, to work with me is very high, but my partners have made hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
But we have literally tiers in our service where it's like you can just come for 2 hours and I can review a particular deal for you versus you can come and spend a year working with me or working with one of my partners and have that consistent access. And I think that's often what's missing as well. And like talking to people who've done different coaching services, it is you get your 1 to 2 days and
Mm.
that's it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what about the questions ongoing? Because normally you do not find a deal in that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I've worked with people that have taken a year to find a deal.
Yeah. Absolutely. And especially when it's your first, it's like the first baby. I always compare
That's
it to the first.
scary.
You have no idea what you're doing. Gets easy afterwards.
It does. It gets less scary and less exciting, actually, the sad thing is. And I was talking to another property investor that I was having coffee with, and we both said the same thing, like lose the excitement, which is a little bit sad. Like I used to get nervous when I would go under contract. I'd like get the butterflies. Oh, this is so exciting. Oh, am I doing the right thing? And now I'm just like, oh, it's another
Yeah. But
one.
but do you think, knowing as much as I know about you so far in the last 30 minutes, do you think it's your ADHD as well?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, I get very bored very easily, which is
Yeah.
why this is good for me because it keeps me very busy.
Yeah.
And it's different things all the time as well. I'm under contract on my 19th property right now running due diligence, and there's things in this property that I've never seen before.
Mm,
And so literally every single property I do, I learn something new.
yeah.
And I don't know when that will stop, but I feel like it never will.
No, it never will. And that actually answers the other question I had in my mind for you that people often ask me, going, well, at some point, surely we'll run out of properties to flip.
No, no, no. It's people are always neglecting their homes. Like, I know people that have been doing it for 30 years. They have never run out of homes.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is like within property trading, from what I see, is people will trade for a while and then they'll move on to developments. So it's not like Emma's trading now and I'm going to be trading in 10 years. Like we'll probably have moved on to a different avenue by that point. I mean, my long-term goal is to move to Europe and to renovate, 500-year-old castles. So,
Oh my God. You're going to be one of those on the program.
oh yes, no, not on the program, but I like legitimately I want to renovate all across the Mediterranean coast and set up like a chain of Airbnbs. Like that is my long-term goal. And it's absolutely ridiculous and I probably will not make money, but I will have a lot of fun doing it.
I love it. You actually answered, like, you keep answering all my questions before I even ask them, because
Just
that was
fuck
going to
it.
be one of my questions is like, what's your goal now? Because I know people like you, because you're very similar to me as well, where we're like constantly moving, constantly hustling, it's in our blood, and we get bored, and then there's another thing and the next thing. And that was going to be my question. What is your next goal? So this is epic. I love that for you. What made you think that? What made you wake up one day and go, oh, I want to do that?
I've always wanted to live in Europe. My whole life, I wanted to live in Europe. And I've traveled there several times. I mean, these back here are both from Tuscany. But the big one came during COVID. So my husband let it slip that you could buy a house for €1 during the second lockdown.
Oh no.
And I deep dived on that, looking because I was like, what are we even doing here? Like, let's just go. And it's not that simple. It's never that simple. But I deep dived on it and I was like, oh, sweet. I'm not going to buy a €1 house, but I can buy a castle for like €60,000. Like,
Wow.
that's epic. I'm going to spend 4 times that renovating it, but that's still cheaper than buying a house in Auckland.
Yeah.
So, I started deep diving on that, and my goal of just like moving to London or Paris or whatever changed from that to actually I love the country life. Like I live in a lifestyle block. I don't like being in the city. Why would I not do that in a nice warm place where the people are friendly and the food is delicious and I can chase the sun?
Yeah. And you can travel so much easier there.
Just jump on a train and go to Vienna. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So that became my goal. And my kids are at an age where it's like within, like, I can see it. Like 4 more years.
I love it. I love it. So 4 to 5 year goal. This is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Okay.
I legitimately like I don't think I'll move there full time. I'll probably like travel back and forth, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm counting it down. I'm just like dreaming of it.
I love that. Now, a couple of questions I had in my head as you were talking about your projects before. And because you and I, we've been through the hard years, but normally people don't talk about the hard stuff, right? And a lot of people see it as a silver bullet. I'm going to make quick money. I'm going to be rich. But you and I both know there is no quick money in life.
There's
There
no
is
quick money.
no get rich quick unless, I don't know, you sell your feet
Win lotto.
online and they blow up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, Lotto. You had a much PC version than me. But tell me, what was your biggest loss that you had since you've started, if you've experienced one?
So my buy and hold, the property that I've kept is my biggest loss. So I overpaid, I overcapitalized, I did double the value in the home and I have huge equity within it, which is why I have kept it. But I would not make the money back if I sold it today.
Mm,
Also because the market is
yeah,
not favorable to that type of house right now.
yeah.
So I lost on paper, I've lost $150,000. Like if I was to sell it, I would take $150,000 loss right now.
Is that after renovations as well?
Yeah, that's after all costs. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why I kept it because I have $500,000 equity within it.
Yeah.
So it's not all, you know, rainbows and unicorns. I have one right now that I will be selling at a loss just because again, I took on a property at a high cost, going, this is going to be a quick, easy renovation and an easy sell. And I've got it marketed for 200 below the CV and it's still not selling.
Wow.
So, it is a tough market right now and it is definitely not easy money and it is not for the faint of heart. You can make a lot of money, but you can lose a lot too.
Yeah. I love that you said that because I feel like a lot of people out there, make this idea very romantic. They romanticize how easy it is to do the flips to without even doing anything. This ads constantly pop up on Facebook for me that,
Yeah.
hey, click this button, you can become a property flipper, renovator, developer, whatever. And you don't have to do anything. We've got a team that will do it all for you. But I feel like people really need to hear this from people like you that have
Hmm.
done it. I mean, 2021 hit us quite badly. I think we ended up with like 4 properties that we couldn't sell and we had to keep, and then we kept losing money on them and we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So yeah, it's definitely does happen and it's not for the faint hearted. I think
Yeah.
you need to be
Even just
thorough.
doing the work though as well. Like in order to do this, I'm buying the worst houses. Like I feel like 10 years ago people could buy a house and paint it and sell it for $100,000 more.
Yeah.
But you can't now, especially when you look at, you know, you can go onto homes.com and you can see what I've paid for the home, right? So I walked into the end of an open home and heard a buyer saying, "Well, she paid 500 for it and she probably spent 300,000, so she's going to sell it for 800."
Mm.
And I'm like, that math doesn't quite math for me. Like, okay, so my agent's working for free. I've got no holding costs and
Mm.
I'm just doing this for free.
Yeah.
Like,
For the society.
yeah, yeah. And I do. That's the feedback I get all the time was
Yeah.
like buyer like agents are like, oh well, they see that you've paid this much for it and so they've offered you've spent on it. And I'm like, well, tell them to go and suck an egg. Like
I, I feel
and
like
because I do this professionally, I do get things done a lot cheaper than others might, but I'm still not doing it for free,
no.
right?
I think
It's
the problem in our industry is there's a lot of cowboys that do
there
things,
is a lot of cowboys.
that do cut corners, that do cheap renos, that don't actually deal with problems within the
Hmm.
property, and then they flip it. And therefore, a lot of buyers have this ideas, like all the real estate agents are bad. Same with the property developers, we sort of tainted with the same brush as that
Yeah.
these people are evil because money is evil. So therefore, these people are evil.
So I choose not to call myself a flipper, even though that is what I am, because I feel like it has that negative like intonation to it. People are like, oh, she's taking away first home buyer stock and she's inflating the market, all of that kind of stuff. I'm literally buying houses that the bank won't lend on.
Yeah.
Like I'm buying meth contaminated houses. I'm buying houses with structural issues. Like, I just completed a huge renovation. It was the biggest drug bust in Whangaparoa.
Wow.
People couldn't buy that house, but I've spent the money and the time to be able to put it back on the market so people can buy that house.
Yeah.
And I think that's what is not understood about our industry is we're not actually removing homes from the first home buyer. We're creating homes
Yeah.
that they can then buy because the
Um,
bank won't lend on those.
no, I mean, some of the properties we ended up purchasing, I couldn't believe how people even lived like
Oh
it.
yeah, it's actually really sad sometimes.
That's what, yeah. We did take the kids through it as well. And for the kids to see how other people live,
Mm,
because I mean, you would have seen it too. So, so sad. And you've got animals that have been neglected in the house. You've got hoarding issues, but
yeah.
who's going to deal with all of that? It's actually,
I've had homes where I've walked in and I've been like, oh, how long has this been vacant for? And they've been like, they moved out last week. And I was like, Like you can smell the mold
Yeah.
the minute you walk into the house, and I'm just like, this is like
Yeah.
these poor people, but they don't see it, I suppose. Like, you
Yeah.
know, but it does. It's very eye-opening the way that some people are living, and they just don't understand it.
Makes me very sad because I'm like, New Zealand's supposed to be a developed country. New
Yeah, but
Zealand.
you see that it's not when you do this. Yeah, like there's a big part of our country that's like third world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And that made me very, very sad when we started doing this. I realized quickly how others live and it's not right. And I think that's why, what we can bring to the industry is people like you and, your crowd. I think better homes to the
yeah.
stock market that will have more proper stock to sell while we're waiting for the new places to be built.
Yeah. Well, like most people that are doing what I'm doing that I know are turning these homes into healthy home standards as well. Like they may not be insulated, they won't be warm, they're not habitable.
Yeah.
And like, we're taking the stock and we're making it habitable and warm so it's a home.
Yeah.
Yes, there are people that are out there that are like just, paint and carpet and then resell it and like literally lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
But they won't last long. People get a name for themselves.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I love what you're doing. And I really, really want to see, I really want to see you in 5 years' time renovating castles. That's going to be cool. Imagine
Oh,
in 5 years'
oh,
time we're
can't
having
wait.
another interview and you're telling me all about the castles that you're doing.
With
Um,
my nice, beautiful Italian tan.
yeah, exactly. Emma, tell me, if you could go back in time and you've got your 11-year-old self, what would you tell 11-year-old Emma?
Keep going, it'll get better. I think, yeah, I think I would just tell her to keep going and life will get easier and life will get better. Because it definitely felt like there was no way out when I was 11.
Yeah. I bet your mom is so proud of you right now.
I wouldn't know. I don't talk to her.
You're really gonna make me cry today.
I'm sorry.
That's hard. That's hard. I think when you've been through really what feels like the bottom, you're like, well, I already hit the bottom. The
Yeah,
only way is
I've
up.
I've been at the bottom. There was nowhere to go down. So, and I don't know if I would be where I am now if I hadn't been that person either, to be honest. I think like some people ask me, do I resent the life that I had or like decisions that I made or mistakes I made, but like everything that you do in life creates the person that you are. So, growing up in poverty is probably what gave me the grit and the work ethics that I now have to have broken that cycle to, build a multi-million dollar company to, to grow to go on to then teach others how to do that.
Yeah.
Because I think like that is what's important to me. Like someone asked me the other day, why do I teach people how to do this if I make so much money? Well, because if I can help raise others up, then that's what matters.
I love that. And a lot of people that I interview very much of the same mindset is that if we can lift others, like together we can create a better society. And I
Yeah.
find that people that have been through the hardest times and yet come out on the other side of it, they still have so much more compassion for others. It just blows my mind.
Yeah. I
This,
because you see it, you've lived it. And unless you've lived it, you can't understand it.
yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. What made you want to share your story today?
So I've been sharing my story. I share my story on social media, and I've done a couple of speaking spots on stage. And although my personal story is very hard to share sometimes, I know that sharing it then helps others to see that there is a way to move forward. And so my big goal is to teach people that you can break the cycle. It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter if you're dyslexic. It doesn't matter if you're poor. It doesn't matter if your family has nothing. You can actually move on in life and you can break that cycle and become a better you, right? So for me it was like getting pregnant at 19, saying I need to raise my life up to raise my child.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if I would have like become this person without that. I don't know. People are like, yeah, of course you would. You just had the attitude. But like, you
Yeah.
know, so I share my story so that I can show others how to do it, or even inspire them to do it themselves.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure like this has been such a powerful interview, Emma. Honestly, thank you so, so much from the bottom of my heart. Like, I can totally see people going, this is great. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of people, and I hope the ones that are listening take it the right way that I mean it. We get stuck in the victim mentality.
Yep.
And I think listening to your stories and stories like yours helps to get out of that victim mentality and go, okay, life happened to me. How am I going to deal with that now?
100%, because if you're stuck in that victim mentality,
Yeah.
you will never grow. You're always trying to blame someone else for your situation or have someone pity you. But like sometimes you just gotta put your big girl pants on and you just gotta go and do it. And I don't think I know a single victim like that wears that badge that will grow.
Yeah.
Like we're all victims, like, right, we are, but it's just being able to move past that, to use that as your power instead of have it hold you back.
I love it. I love it. Emma, thank you so, so much. Please flick me through the details of how people can find you and connect with you. And we'll put it in our podcast notes. And then obviously you can share this with your audiences as well, because I think this is so powerful for people to know and to hear. And look, part of me is so happy for you that you had the kids so young, because look at you now. You still look like you're 19 and 20, and you can go and live in Europe and, still pull it through. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna live my best life.
And that's a wrap on That Home Loan Hub. Don't forget to hit subscribe and join me next time for more property tips and tricks. Your next smart move starts here.